Karoline Leavitt did it again. This time, she went straight for Kaitlan Collins, and she didn't hold back. It wasn't some behind-the-scenes jab. This happened right in front of the entire press corps during a heated White House briefing. Just after that signal message leak, Karoline came in swinging, calling out journalists one by one for twisting the narrative and trying to smear both her and the administration. This clash, it's pure fire, and you're going to want every second of it. Smash that subscribe button, and let's dive right into the chaos.
One on a follow-up on something you just said, but since we have these messages released, and you said that the president has now personally reviewed them, at the chat, at one point, Pete Hegseth wrote, 14-15, strike drones on target, and in all caps, he said, this is when the first bombs will definitely drop. Does the president feel that he was misled by his national security advisors, whoever it was that told him there was no classified information in there, now that he's seen these messages?
I've now been asked and answered this question 3 times by the both of you, and I've given you my answer. The president feels the same today as he did yesterday.
Okay,
Philip.
on my follow-up on what you had just said.
No, go ahead, Philip. Caitlin, I'm not taking your follow-up. Philip, go
I have
ahead.
a follow-up on something you just said, though, Caroline. That's
Caitlin, I'm not taking your
And
follow-up.
believe it or not, this wasn't even the first time Kaitlan had asked that same question. You could literally see the frustration rising on Karoline's face. She was done playing nice. But honestly, the rest of the press pool wasn't any better. These so-called journalists just kept firing off loaded questions, clearly fishing for a soundbite or something they could twist out of context. It wasn't about truth, it was about the narrative. We'll get back to Kaitlan in a second, but first, just watch how the rest of the media acted. It's a full-on display of bias, spin, and straight-up desperation.
Enlisted soldiers, sailors, and Marines would face consequences if they shared this type of information inadvertently with a reporter. Can you tell us more why the president is so willing to give Mike Waltz a mulligan here?
Again, I have now been asked and answered the same question using different language multiple times. If anybody has another question, there's a lot of different things going on in the world. We have tariffs possibly being implemented later today. The president is going to talk about that at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Even with everything, we know they're still out here pushing their tired, broken agenda onto society. And of course, the leftist mainstream media is celebrating, because now they've got fresh material to twist and spin. Same playbook, just a new headline. Just sit back and watch Peter doing what he always does.
Well, I noticed this morning, out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans, because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning. You know who does attack plans and war plans? Men like that admiral right there, Paparo, for the Indo-Pacific, or Eric Kurilla, our general in CENTCOM. They do attack plans and war plans. And thank God we have those leaders who do it and do it well, and our enemies know it.
Just so we're clear, the reason Karoline banned these clowns is simple. They don't listen. They weren't there to report the news. They came to humiliate her, twist her words, and push their own narrative. And now, watch closely, because here comes Peter, acting like he cares about the American people while setting up an agenda that's anything but. Let's keep going.
I definitely support an IG investigation on how all of these high-ranking members used a platform that is not appropriate for what they were discussing. Most of all, we need to know how someone who should not have been on the call was able to be added to it.
I still have confidence in the secretary. I think they have learned a valuable lesson with this, but we'll get...
See, this is exactly what they're hiding from you. They don't want anyone to know they're quietly cleaning up Hunter Biden's mess behind the scenes. Meanwhile, Peter's out here trying to blow up every tiny misstep from the Trump administration just to shift the spotlight. But here's the best part. Karoline isn't having it. She's shutting it down and keeping the focus exactly where it belongs.
Peter.
Karoline, if I can ask you very quickly about the information we've seen, just to set the predicate to all this. Has the president been briefed and physically seen he's seen all the details of the chat as printed by the Atlantic?
I just spoke to the president about it, yes.
Okay. Then let me ask you, if I can, very quickly. In the chat, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, details F-18s, Tomahawks, so some of the weapons that were used. He details the timing involved for this, all of which occurred 31 minutes before, as he says, F-18s would launch. The DoD manual details classified information as significant military plans, saying that is secret, that's classified. So what about, there are no methods, there are no sources, but that's not what determines what's classified. So what is it about what Pete Hegseth wrote that makes you say this is not classified?
Well, it's not just me saying that, Peter. It's the Secretary of Defense himself who is saying this as well. And he put out a very strong statement today, listing all of the things that were not included in that message that he sent to the group. And again, this message, there was no classified information transmitted. There were no war plans discussed. Why did the Atlantic downgrade their allegation about war plans to attack plans? They're now playing word games because they know this was sensationalist spin from a reporter who is well known for doing this. We have said all along no war plans were discussed, no classified material was sent. You have the Secretary of Defense saying that. You have the Director of the CIA, the Director of National Intelligence, the FBI Director, all testifying to that under oath.
The woke crowd is back at it, recycling the same tired hoaxes and hurling them at the Trump administration, hoping to spin the narrative in their favor. Let's be real. It's the same question, just asked by different reporters on repeat, praying for a different soundbite. And let's not forget, if the former press secretary were still around, none of them would dare pull this. But enough is enough. Watch as Karoline Leavitt absolutely ends Kaitlan Collins' career the moment she smugly asks, "Why were the timestamps there if it isn't classified?" Karoline's response? Brutal, brilliant. Game over.
To be clear, Americans can make the decision for themselves, but whether is the
Sure.
you said it's not war plans. Would you characterize these as military plans, military operation plans?
I would characterize this messaging thread as a policy discussion, a sensitive policy discussion, surely, amongst high-level cabinet officials and senior staff. And I'm so glad, Peter, that you said the American public can decide for themselves, because I think the American public should decide for themselves based on the outcome of this operation. And what happened in this operation? Terrorists that were allowed to run wild by the Biden administration were killed because of the direction and the determination of this president and his team. And this message also shows, this messaging thread also proved that President Trump has an incredibly dynamic team who is working incredibly hard, flying all over the world to secure world peace and to fix up the foreign policy crises that the previous administration left for this team to inherit.
Even after everything, Kaitlan Collins just wouldn't stop, repeating the same question over and over like a broken record. That's when Karoline Leavitt had finally had enough. She kicked Kaitlan out on the spot, no hesitation. Now word is spreading fast. Kaitlan's press credentials have been revoked, and if that's true, honestly, it's something a lot of people have been waiting to see for a long time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We've got a lot more coming your way.
We all in this room and around the country would agree that we're glad no American service members were harmed, and we're glad that the mission was a success. We'll stipulate that. But the president said that Pete Hegseth said none of this was classified. So given the president has seen it now, and given the president understands that significant military plans are deemed classified as secret, how does the president view none of this, which details times and weapons and more, as being not classified?
I've already been asked and answered this question. The president's thoughts on this remain the same today as they were yesterday,
On what basis,
as
I'm
well as the Secretary of Defense. This question has been asked and answered. There was no classified material discussed. Jackie.
On what basis I was asking?